Many of you know that I've made millions of dollars in real estate, but a lot of you don't know that I've actually had brilliant moments of losing money. When I was just getting started on my journey of building wealth, there was one habit in particular that I picked up, and it cost me dearly. In fact, it wiped out my entire savings account. I want to share it with you today in hopes that it will help you learn from my mistakes and actually go on to make far more brilliant choices than I did.
'Cause we're gonna be legends. What we're doing here ain't just scary. It's about to be legendary.
So in my early days of investing in real estate, things started a little bit slow. I mean, it took me 14 months to get my first house. It took me another year to get my second house. It started speeding up, and I was still open to the idea of how do I bring in extra money? And I had a friend that told me about day trading, and it sounded magical. He basically took some of his own money, took a training course, and then in the morning for about 30 minutes, he would hop online, and as the market would move, he basically said, well, Kris, when it does this, I push this button, and then I wait a few minutes, and then I hit another button here, and then I make a lot of money. And I was like, whoa. Kind of sounds like you're printing money. That sounds really, really interesting. And he started telling me, oh, I made 600 bucks today. Oh, I made $1,500 today. Oh, I made $5,000 today. And I thought, dude, I would love to make $5,000 in 30 minutes. I would love to make $500 in 30 minutes. And so I made the decision to actually get into day trading. I asked him, I said, well, how did you learn how to do this? He says, well, I've got some buddies that I took their training course. It was like $8,000. So I got in contact with them. I gave them $8,000. At the time, I had like $30,000 in my bank. So I didn't have a lot of money, but I knew that I always got a return on investing in myself. Even though my real estate was heating up, there was a part of me that said, I want to figure out how to make more money faster. So I paid the $8,000. I took their training course. It was probably about 10 hours worth of training. And they essentially taught me 3 strategies for how to trade the Russell Index. And they basically said, when you see these 3 indicators happen, you should do this. And when you see it do that, you should do that. And essentially with these 3 strategies, I started going into this day trading. Now, I want to be really honest with you. I was much younger and I was a much more impatient human being. And so they said that I should start with what's called paper trading. Paper trading is when you're not using your real money yet. And remember, I didn't have a whole lot of money in the bank. I had a bunch of real estate bankrolled that was going to be coming in, but I was trying to get where I wanted to go sooner and faster. Instead of paper trading, I decided to jump in and actually start trading with real dollars. You know, I took their advice and I only traded with a small amount. I had $20,000 in my trading account and I would trade with $1,000 or $2,000. Well, immediately I followed the signs and I did the move. And immediately I was up 20%. Now at $1,000 in, I was up 20%. So I made $200. And I thought, oh my gosh, this was so simple. It took me 30 seconds. I made $200. This is freaking boss. I got excited. And then I did the next trade and I lost around $200. And I thought, well, I am new at this and I really haven't necessarily lost anything, but I won one and I lost one. I did another trade and essentially I was up another $100. I ran out of time, but there was something really addictive and compelling that said, you want to do more. So I was up for the day. I felt successful. The next morning, I woke up at 7:30 in the morning. I got ready and I turned on all of the machines and indicators and I started trading. That day, I made like $300. 100 the day before, 300, and I said, I'm going to stop while I'm ahead because they always said stop while you're ahead and be patient. And if you lose, don't try to earn your winnings back. Now that sounded really good, but I was intoxicated at this idea that I just made $300 in 30 minutes. So what ended up happening over the next few weeks is I started growing more confident, but what I was finding is that I would make $500 and then I would lose $500. Some days I was up $100, some days I was down $200 or $300. My soul got antsy because there was this hit, this dopamine hit that felt so good that said when you win, man, it was like gambling. I didn't really understand exactly what I was doing. I was trying to follow strategy, but I became more impatient and I became emotional. Now, real estate takes time to transact, but stock market, it happens fast. Over time, I would have good days and bad days, and the reality is I was losing money. But I got to the point where I got so impatient that I decided that something needed to change sooner rather than later, and I needed to win right now. And I heard about the Fed affecting interest rate. They would make an announcement. If the announcement was that they were going to get lowered, we were going to see the stocks boom and spike. And so I had this impetulant moment where I said, you know what, Kris, it's like you're guaranteed to win. I told myself I'm guaranteed to win. Put all of your money in. So I took all of the money that I had and I basically set my indicators and I'm like, okay, as soon as this announcement is made, I'm going to go live with this trade. And then I'm going to make like 5,000% on my money. I'm going to turn essentially what I had left, around $15,000. I'm going to turn it into $100,000 in 2 minutes. And in preparation for this, I got myself so psyched. I got myself so jazzed that I started getting excited about this and started getting myself to believe this was guaranteed. It was going to happen. This is it. The day came and I was excited because I thought this is the day when I'm really going to get ahead. And it came time. They made the announcement. The feds were lowering the rates. So I decided I'm going all in with all of my money. And those indicators, they moved so fast. And what happened was I put all of my money in and I hit go. And the chart started screaming north. And I'm like, it's happening. I'm going to freaking, to me, it was like, I'm going to be a billionaire. But all of a sudden, my account showed that I had lost all of my money and that I actually owed several $100s and that I was in the negative. And it's like, wait. How is this happening? Everything has shot up through the roof. How did I lose? When I played it back, the market, when it shot up really quickly, darted down and back up. And in that moment, I had not hit my stop loss. I lost everything. And when it was over, it was a sobering moment because that money was really meaningful. It was really precious to me. And then I had to ask myself, what am I learning? There was something really good that I did, and there was something really horrible that I did. The good thing that I did was that I invested in me. I took a professional course from professionals that made their living that way. They gave me good training. In fact, their training was so good, they taught me, don't trade when you're feeling emotional, be patient. They actually told me how to do a lot of the things that I actually wasn't doing. But the bad thing that I did is I had a get-rich-quick part of my mindset that said, I need it all now. I need to win right now. And I had convinced and persuaded myself that this was how I was going to get ahead and I was going to be a hero. And it was all get rich quick right now. And it was going to be incredible. Well, that was the mistake that I made. It was arrogant, it was stupid, and it was done. Day trading was not how I was going to get rich. It was certainly not how I was going to make money. It required a bunch of additional skills that I didn't really possess at the time. Fortunately, real estate kept working incredibly in my favor, and I started buying more property and I started having success, and I learned something from me. I learned that I have an easier time making $1 million in real estate over the stock market. One is extraordinarily simpler, it is easier, and it's working, but it's not as exciting because it takes a little bit more time. I've now gone on to do thousands of deals. In fact, I've been able to build wealth for a lot of people. I've helped create a lot of millionaires, and it's been really fulfilling and exciting. For those of you that are watching this, I hope you learn from my mistakes. That one habit cost me so much. I've since had a chance to rectify it and change it. And I've been able to go on and make millions and millions and millions of dollars in something that I find incredibly easy. Something that doesn't care whether I'm young or old. Something that doesn't care whether I do or don't have money, whether I have good credit or bad credit. It just doesn't care, and yet it is such a great way of making money. That way is apparently real estate investing. That's my experience with day trading. But if you want to get in the game of real estate, over here popping up, I made a different video that actually shows in 4.5 years how I actually went on to make $1.6 million, which was just the beginning of all of the wealth. It was my first 25 homes before I bought hundreds of homes and then thousands of homes. And all that's queued up right here in this next video. Check it out, learn from me, learn from my lessons, and then figure out how to be a boss and get on top by making all the money that you want to live the life that you want. Take care. Hit that like button. Help me hack the YouTube algorithm and tell them to share this with everybody else. And I will see you on tomorrow's video.